Jack Miller was the only human at the Galactic Academy of Sciences on Centauri Prime. The huge space station orbited the second planet from Alpha Centauri, the closest star system to Earth's sun. Jack stood 5 feet 10 inches tall with brown hair and green eyes. At 18 years old, he represented all of humanity in the exchange program. Most days at the academy were hard for Jack. Today was no different. He walked into the large dining hall and felt many eyes turn to look at him. Some alien students stared with curiosity, others with disgust, and a few with open hostility. "Look who it is." A deep voice boomed across the room. "The fragile human has come to eat." Jack sighed. Draz, a Cronin student with gray rocky skin that stood 7 feet tall, was his main tormentor. Cronins came from a heavy mineral planet and had evolved tough, stone-like bodies. Next to Draz sat Alex, a thin Varian with pale blue skin and large, purple eyes. Varians were known for their mind-reading abilities. The third bully was not one being but many. Zivt was a Nexari collective, a group of insect-like creatures that shared one mind. The small black bugs formed shapes that looked almost human but moved in disturbing ways. Jack grabbed a tray of food and looked for an empty table. There were none. "Hey, weak bones, why don't you come sit with us?" Draz called out with fake friendliness. "Oh wait, you might break if you sit too hard." Several alien students laughed. Jack felt his face grow hot, but he kept his expression calm. He had learned that showing emotion only made things worse. "Thanks for the offer, but I prefer to keep my bones intact today," Jack replied with a forced smile. He found a spot at the end of a table where a group of plant-like Florins were eating. They didn't speak much and mostly ignored him, which was better than being made fun of. As Jack ate his specially prepared Earth-compatible meal, he felt something push into his mind. Images of himself tripping and falling, breaking apart like a clay figure, more laughter. He knew Alex was projecting these thoughts to everyone nearby. "Stop it," Jack muttered, focusing on mental blocking techniques he had learned from Professor Klin, the xenocultural studies teacher, who had helped Jack adjust to life at the academy. "The human talks to himself," Zivt's collective voice buzzed as the swarm shifted into a mockery of Jack's shape. "Perhaps its primitive brain is malfunctioning without enough water. Humans need constant hydration, how inefficient." Jack finished his meal quickly and stood up. He needed to get to his next class, comparative planetary physics. At least there, he did well. Earth's harsh conditions meant humans understood physics in ways some species never needed to. As he walked through the curved hallways of the station, Jack checked his personal tablet. There was a message from his parents back on Earth. They sent a video of his dog Max playing in the backyard of their Colorado home. Jack smiled at the sight of real grass, real trees, and Earth's blue sky. He missed home more than he wanted to admit. "Homesick, Miller?" The voice belonged to Lily Garcia, one of the few students who treated Jack with respect. She was an Aquarian with blue-tinted skin, small gill slits on her neck, and webbed fingers. Her people evolved in water-covered worlds but could survive on land for extended periods. "Just checking messages," Jack said, quickly putting away his tablet. "Don't let Draz and his friends get to you," Lily said as they walked together toward class chat. "They're jealous," Jack laughed. "Jealous of what? The fragile human who needs special food and can't survive radiation levels they consider normal? Jealous that you're the top student in 3 subjects despite being from a primitive world," Lily said. "And that Professor Klin clearly thinks humans have potential." They entered the classroom and took their seats. The physics professor, a mechanoid named Unit 7, rolled to the front on smooth treads. The robot-like being had evolved naturally on a world with high electrical fields, developing metal-based biology instead of carbon. "Today we discuss gravity variations and their effects on species development," Unit 7 announced in its precise, measured voice. "This will be particularly relevant as we prepare for our upcoming field expedition." Jack sat up straighter. This was the first he'd heard about a field trip. "As you know, each semester includes one major expedition for practical studies," Unit 7 continued. "This term, the Academy Council has selected Earth as our destination." The classroom erupted with sounds. Clicks, buzzes, telepathic pulses of surprise, and vocal exclamations. Jack felt his heart rate increase. Earth? They were going to Earth? Silence. Unit 7 commanded. Earth has recently opened more regions for scientific study by non-humans. This is a rare opportunity to observe a Class 9 gravity world with extreme environmental variations. From across the room, Jack heard Draz's distinctive laugh. We're going to see where the human comes from? Will we need special suits to survive the primitive conditions? Yes, many of you will require adaptive equipment, Unit 7 stated matter-of-factly. Earth's gravity is 1.3 times the galactic standard. Its atmospheric oxygen levels are considered toxic to several species. Temperature variations in some regions can exceed 50 degrees in a single day. Earth's indigenous life forms, including humans, have evolved remarkable adaptations to these conditions. Jack couldn't believe what he was hearing. After months of being mocked for being human, his classmates would see Earth firsthand. They would experience what humans lived with every day. A small smile formed on his face. After class, Professor Klin asked Jack to stay behind. The tall, thin professor had 6 limbs and skin that shifted colors with his emotions, currently a thoughtful shade of yellow-green. Jack, I want to discuss the Earth expedition with you, Professor Klin said. As our only human student, you will be an important resource. How do you feel about returning home? Honestly, Professor, I can't wait, Jack said. But I'm also worried. Draz and the others already make my life difficult, taking them to my homeworld. I understand your concerns. Professor Klin's skin rippled with blue tones of empathy. But consider this a unique opportunity. Many of your classmates have never encountered a Class 9 world. Their perceptions may change when they experience Earth directly. Jack thought about this as he walked back to his single-occupancy dorm. The room was designed for his special environmental needs. Really just normal Earth air, temperature, and pressure. He looked at the small Earth flag he had hung on the wall. For the first time in months at the academy, he felt a glimmer of hope. Maybe, just maybe, things would be different after this trip. After all, Earth wasn't what his classmates imagined. To humans, it was home. To most other species in the galaxy, it was classified as an extreme world, beautiful but deadly. Jack smiled as he prepared for bed. Let them come to Earth. Let them see what humans lived with every day. Let them try to call him weak after walking under the gravity that had shaped his species. He fell asleep thinking of home, and for once he looked forward to tomorrow at the academy. The next 2 weeks passed quickly as the academy prepared for the Earth expedition. Jack spent his evenings watching videos from home and reading about places they might visit. His excitement grew, but so did the teasing from Draz and his friends. Hey, human, I heard your planet has these things called earthquakes where the ground just breaks apart, Draz said during lunch. Is that why your species is so jumpy all the time? Jack took a deep breath. Plate tectonics are normal on many planets, Draz. Earth is actually quite stable compared to some worlds. And these storms with electricity falling from the sky? Alex added, purple eyes wide with fake concern. How primitive to live somewhere. So dangerous. The Nexari collective Zivt formed into a rough shape of a human being struck by lightning, then exploded its form into scattered bugs before coming back together. Several nearby students laughed. Jack gripped his fork tighter, but stayed calm. You'll see for yourselves soon enough. Later that day, Professor Klin gathered all 50 students going on the expedition in the main lecture hall. The professor's skin was bright orange with excitement as he explained the trip details. We depart in 3 days aboard the educational vessel Stellar Scholar, Professor Klin said. The journey will take 3 standard days. Upon arrival, we will shuttle down to the North American Education Center in the region humans call Colorado. A holographic map of Earth appeared above the professor. Jack smiled at the familiar blue and green planet. Home. Each of you will complete a research project during our 2-week stay, Professor Klin continued. I will now announce the partner assignments. Jack listened carefully, hoping for a good partner. When the professor called Jack Miller and Lily Garcia, Jack felt relieved. At least he would work with someone friendly. Lily moved to sit beside him. "Looks like we're partners," she said with a smile. "I've always wanted to see Earth's oceans. My ancestors would have loved your world's water." "I grew up near mountains, but we can definitely visit an ocean," Jack promised. Professor Klin continued explaining the trip requirements. All non-human students would need adaptive equipment for Earth's conditions. Most would wear gravity compensators to help with Earth's stronger pull. Some would need breathing filters for the oxygen-rich air. Others required protection from Earth's more intense sunlight. "What about you, human?" Draz called out from across the room. "Will you need special equipment to look less weak among your own kind?" Before Jack could answer, Professor Klin intervened. "Actually, Draz, Jack will be operating at full capacity in his native environment. Without the exoskeletal supports he wears here at the Academy, you might find human capabilities on Earth surprising." This caught everyone's attention. Jack rarely mentioned the lightweight exoskeleton he wore beneath his uniform. On Centauri Prime, with its lower gravity, it helped him appear normal by weighing him down to prevent muscle loss. Without it, in the Academy's lighter gravity, he could jump nearly twice as high as on Earth. As the students filed out after the meeting, Jack heard whispers. Some students were clearly nervous about visiting a high-gravity death world, as one called it. Others were excited for the scientific opportunity. A few, like Draz, still acted tough, but Jack noticed a new uncertainty in their mockery. Day before departure, Jack packed his few belongings. He wouldn't need much since they were going to his home planet. He held his adaptive exoskeleton, knowing he wouldn't wear it again until they returned to the Academy. For the first time in months, he would feel normal again. On departure day, the students boarded the Stellar Scholar. The ship was huge, with separate quarters designed for each species' needs. Jack's room felt strange. It was built to Earth standards, but after months at the Academy, even these familiar conditions felt slightly off. As the ship pulled away, from Centauri Prime, Jack watched through the viewing port as the space station grew smaller. He felt a tap on his shoulder and turned to see Lily. "Want to come to the main observation deck? Everyone's watching the jump preparation," she said. Jack nodded and followed her to the large deck where most students had gathered. The vast window showed the starfield ahead as the ship prepared for faster-than-light travel. "Nervous about going home?" Lily asked as they found a spot to stand. "No, but I am nervous about bringing them to Earth," Jack admitted quietly, nodding toward where Draz, Alex, and the Zivt Collective stood. "They've made up their minds about humans being weak. I'm not sure even seeing Earth will change that." The ship's captain announced the FTL jump was about to begin. The stars outside stretched into lines of light, then blurred as the ship accelerated beyond normal space. Several students gasped in appreciation of the view. "I've never understood why humans insist on windows on starships." Draz's voice carried across the deck. "Just another weakness. My people would never risk structural integrity for something so unnecessary as looking outside." Jack couldn't help himself. "Maybe because we like to see what's coming," he replied. "Humans have always been explorers. We like to face things head-on." Draz turned, his rocky face twisting into what passed for a smile among Cronins. "Is that what you tell yourselves? That your curiosity isn't just a lack of proper caution?" "You'll see soon enough," Jack said. "Earth isn't what you expect." During the 3-day journey, Professor Klin held daily briefings about Earth. He explained Earth's seasons, weather patterns, and the wide variety of ecosystems they might encounter. Many students seemed increasingly nervous as they learned more details. "Earth's oceans contain predators larger than our shuttlecraft," the professor explained during one session. "Its atmosphere can create wind speeds that destroy buildings. Even its planetary core is unstable, creating magnetic fields that would disorient many species." Jack watched as his classmates shifted uncomfortably. He had never thought of Earth as particularly dangerous before. To him, it was just home. On the final day of travel, Professor Klin asked Jack to give a presentation about growing up on Earth. Jack showed pictures of his hometown, his school, and his family hiking in the Rocky Mountains. "Isn't that excessive physical exertion?" asked a plant-like Florin student. "It's fun," Jack explained. Many humans enjoy challenging themselves physically. And that? Alex pointed to a picture of Jack swimming in a lake. Swimming. Most humans learn as children. In open water? With unknown organisms? The telepathic student seemed genuinely shocked. For the first time, Jack began to see his homeworld through alien eyes. What seemed normal to him was apparently terrifying to species from more controlled, predictable environments. As the ship entered Earth's solar system, Jack felt a growing sense of pride. Soon his tormentors would experience firsthand what humans lived with every day. Soon, they would understand what it meant to be from Earth. The stellar scholar moved into orbit around the blue planet. Through the observation windows, Jack could see the swirling clouds, vast oceans, and sprawling continents of home. Students pressed against the glass in fascination and fear. "It's time," Professor Klin announced. "Prepare for shuttle departure. Welcome to Earth, everyone." Jack smiled. The real education was about to begin. The shuttle shook as it entered Earth's atmosphere. Jack sat calmly while many of his classmates gripped their seats. Through the windows, clouds rushed past as they descended toward the Rocky Mountains of Colorado. "Is this normal?" Alex asked, his blue face looking slightly green. "This much movement?" Jack nodded. "Completely normal. Earth's atmosphere is thicker than many planets." Draz tried to look unimpressed, but Jack noticed the Cronin's rocky hands were clenched tightly on the armrests. The Nexari collective Zivd had compressed into a tight ball, all its individual bugs huddled together in fear. "Prepare for landing," the pilot announced. "Earth gravity will be fully felt when protection fields shut down after landing." The shuttle touched down smoothly on a large landing pad outside the North American Education Center. Through the windows, Jack could see the familiar landscape of his home region: tall pine trees, mountains in the distance, and a clear blue sky. His heart beat faster with excitement. "Environmental checks complete. Air is breathable for most species with your provided filters," the pilot said. "Gravity compensation will end in 3, 2, 1. Jack felt the familiar pull of Earth's gravity return fully. After months in lighter gravity, even with his exoskeleton, it felt good, like a firm hug from an old friend. Around him, the other students had very different reactions. Draz let out a grunt of discomfort. The Cronin, normally tall and imposing, seemed to struggle to stand fully upright. Alex moved carefully, as if each step required concentration. The Nexari collective Zivd spread out over the floor, seeming unable to form its usual humanoid shape. "Take your time," Professor Klin advised, his own 6 limbs moving cautiously. "Your bodies will adjust." When the shuttle door opened, Jack was the first one out. He took a deep breath of fresh mountain air and smiled. Then he turned to watch his classmates emerge. Draz was among the first to try. The Cronin student, who had bullied Jack relentlessly about human weakness, now moved forward with slow, heavy steps. Jack could see the strain on Draz's rocky face as he fought against Earth's stronger gravity. "Need a hand?" Jack offered, extending his arm. Draz started to refuse, then stumbled slightly. With obvious reluctance, he grabbed Jack's arm to steady himself. "This gravity is stronger than expected," Draz admitted. "You'll adjust," Jack said, easily supporting the heavier alien. "It just takes time." One by one, the students exited the shuttle. Most moved slowly, their bodies not used to Earth's conditions. Lily seemed to be doing better than most. Her aquatic homeworld had similar gravity. "This is amazing," Lily said, looking at the landscape. "But the air feels so dry." "We're in Colorado," Jack explained. "It's a drier region. When we visit the ocean for our project, you'll find it more comfortable." 2 humans waited for them near the education center building, a tall man with gray hair and a shorter woman with dark skin and curly black hair. They wore the blue uniforms of Earth's Science Council. "Welcome to Earth," the man called out. "I'm Field Director Alan Brown, and this is my assistant Susan White. We'll be your guides during your stay." Professor Klin introduced the class, explaining that they were still adjusting to Earth conditions. Jack noticed that both humans seemed to be hiding smiles as they watched the alien students struggle with basic movement. "Your first assignment is simple," Susan White explained. Walk from here to the main building, about 500 meters. This will help your bodies begin to adapt. Jack looked at the path ahead. A gentle slope led to a large glass and stone building. On any other day, it would be an easy 5-minute walk, but he could see from his classmates' faces that this would be a major challenge for them. Director Brown approached Jack. "You must be Miller, our first human at the Galactic Academy in 5 years." "Yes, sir," Jack replied, shaking the man's hand. "How does it feel to be home?" Brown asked. Jack grinned. "Better than I expected. I didn't realize how much I missed it until now." As the class began their slow walk to the building, Jack moved easily alongside the Earth guides. For once, he wasn't the one struggling to keep up. Behind him, Draz and the other students moved with careful, measured steps. No one was mocking humans now. "Is Earth gravity always this intense?" Alex asked, breathing heavily despite his filter mask. "This is just normal," Jack replied. "Some regions have slightly higher or lower gravity due to Earth's uneven mass distribution, but this is average. And you grew up in this?" The telepathic student seemed genuinely amazed. Jack nodded. "From birth, human babies learn to crawl, then walk, then run in this gravity." The Nexari collective Zivt was having the hardest time. Instead of forming its usual humanoid shape, it moved as a flat carpet of insects across the ground. "We cannot maintain cohesion in this gravity," its group voice buzzed. "How do single-body organisms function here?" "Strong bones and muscles," Susan White explained. "Your adaptive exercises will help over the next few days." By the time they reached the main building, many students were exhausted. Jack helped Lily, who was getting tired despite her planet's similar gravity. Even walking in dry air was draining her slightly. Inside, they entered a large room with tables and chairs. "Rest here," Director Brown said. "We'll discuss tomorrow's schedule after you've had time to recover." Draz collapsed into a reinforced chair designed for his species. The Cronin looked at Jack with new eyes. "You moved as if this was nothing," Draz said. Jack shrugged. "It's my normal, just like low gravity is normal for you. At the academy, I thought you were weak because you needed supports to move properly," Draz continued. "But here I'm just a regular human," Jack finished for him. After a brief rest, Director Brown showed them a holographic map of the education center and surrounding areas. "Tomorrow, we'll begin with basic outdoor exercises to help you adjust to Earth conditions. Then each research team will meet with their specialist guides." Lily raised her hand. "When will we visit the ocean?" "Our project is on marine ecosystems." "Day 4, Susan replied. "We'll take a high-speed transport to the Pacific coast." As the meeting ended, students were shown to their rooms. Each was designed to accommodate different species' needs. Jack's room was simply a standard human dwelling, something he hadn't seen in months. That night, as Jack looked out his window at the stars above the mountains, he heard a knock. He opened the door to find Draz standing there, looking uncomfortable. "Cannot sleep," the Cronin admitted. "This gravity makes my body ache." "That's normal," Jack said. "Your muscles are working harder than they're used to." Draz was quiet for a moment. "At the academy, I thought humans were the weakest species. But to live every day in these conditions..." Jack smiled slightly. "Different doesn't always mean weaker, Draz. We're each adapted to our own worlds." The Cronin nodded slowly. "Perhaps I have been incorrect in my assessment of humans." As Draz left, Jack closed his door, feeling a small victory. This was just day 1 on Earth. The real challenges were still to come. Jack woke up early the next morning feeling refreshed. After months of sleeping with an exoskeleton in lower gravity, a night in Earth's natural conditions had been exactly what his body needed. He stretched and looked out the window at the Colorado, sunrise painting the mountains gold and pink. In the dining hall, Jack found most of his classmates already eating breakfast. They moved better than yesterday, but still carefully. Lily waved him over to a table where she sat with Alex and a few other students. "How did everyone sleep?" Jack asked as he set down his tray of food. "Terribly," Alex admitted. "My muscles hurt and I kept having dreams of being crushed. The Nexari consensus could not maintain proper formation. Zivt's buzzing voice added from where its insects formed a small mound on the table. We had to sleep as individuals rather than a collective. Jack nodded sympathetically. The first few days are the hardest. Your bodies will adapt. Director Brown and Susan White entered the dining hall. Good morning, students, Brown announced. Today's schedule begins with outdoor adaptation exercises followed by your first research project meetings. After breakfast, the class gathered. Outside, the sky was clear blue and a cool breeze rustled the pine trees. Perfect hiking weather, Jack thought. Today we'll be walking a nature trail, Susan explained. It's an easy 2-kilometer loop that will help your bodies adjust to moving in Earth gravity. Several students groaned at the word easy. Jack hid a smile. What humans considered a simple walk was proving to be a challenge for most alien species. The class set off on the trail, with Earth guides at the front and back to ensure no one fell too far behind. Jack walked alongside Lily, who was moving better than most but still breathing heavily through her gill filters. The air here is so different, Lily said. So much oxygen but so dry. My skin feels strange. Wait until you see the ocean, Jack promised. You'll love it. About halfway through the hike, they stopped by a small mountain stream. The water sparkled in the sunlight as it flowed over smooth rocks. Take a break here, Director Brown suggested. Feel free to touch the water, but don't drink it unless you have a human digestive system. Jack knelt by the stream and let the cold water run over his hand. Lily joined him, her webbed fingers dipping into the current. It's so clean, she said with wonder. And cold. Are all Earth waters like this? No, we have all kinds, Jack explained. Warm oceans, frozen lakes, deep rivers. Water is everywhere on Earth in many forms. Draz had been walking near the back of the group, his rocky body struggling with the uneven terrain. Now he approached the stream cautiously. Can I try? He asked Jack, gesturing to the water. Sure, Jack said, surprised by the Cronin's politeness. Just be careful not to fall in. The current is stronger than it looks. Draz knelt awkwardly and touched the water. He jerked his hand back immediately. It's freezing. That's mountain water for you, Jack laughed, fed by melting snow higher up. As they continued their hike, Jack noticed a dark cloud formation in the distance. The Earth guides saw it too. Susan consulted her weather monitor and spoke quietly to Director Brown. Change of plans, everyone, Brown announced. We need to return to the center. A thunderstorm is approaching. Thunderstorm? Alex asked, looking nervous. Is that the one with electricity in the sky? Jack nodded. Lightning. It's normal here, but we should get inside. They turned back, moving faster now despite tired muscles. The alien students sensed the guide's urgency and didn't complain. The dark clouds moved closer and Jack could feel the air pressure changing, a familiar feeling that meant rain was coming. They had almost reached the center when the first thunder rumbled in the distance. Alex froze, his telepathic abilities accidentally broadcasting his fear to those nearby. Several students gasped as they felt his panic. It's okay, Jack said firmly, placing a hand on Alex's shoulder. That's just the sound. The lightning is still far away. They hurried inside just as the first heavy raindrops began to fall. Through the large windows of the main hall, the class watched as the storm arrived. Lightning flashed across the sky, followed by booming thunder. Wind bent the trees and rain lashed against the building. This is a mild storm, Susan explained to the stunned alien students. We get much stronger ones during certain seasons, and humans just live with this? Draz asked, watching as lightning struck a lightning rod on a nearby building. We've adapted, Jack said. Buildings have protection systems. We learned storm safety as children. Alex moved closer to the window, his fear now mixed with fascination. Your world tries to kill you regularly, yet you thrive here. After the storm passed, leaving everything fresh and clean, the class split into research teams to meet their specialist guides. Jack and Lily were introduced to Dr. Kim, a marine biologist who would help with their ocean project. I understand. You're from an aquatic world, Dr. Kim said to Lily. You'll find Earth's oceans both familiar and very different from your home. While they discussed the project, Jack noticed Draz and his research partner, a Florin student, working nearby. The Cronin kept glancing at Jack, then back at his own work. Finally, during a break, Draz approached. "Miller," he said stiffly. "I wish to apologize." Jack tried not to show his surprise. "For what?" "At the academy, I said humans were weak, because you needed support to move properly in our gravity," Draz continued. "I did not understand that you were actually stronger than you appeared." Jack nodded, accepting the apology. "Different worlds create different strengths, Draz." "On my home moon, gravity is 1/3 of this," Draz admitted. "I've never had to work so hard just to stand upright." "That's how I felt at the academy," Jack said, "always fighting against the wrong gravity, never quite comfortable." Draz seemed to consider this. Perhaps we are not so different after all. That evening, the class gathered for dinner. The mood had changed noticeably. There were fewer jokes about humans and more questions about Earth. Jack found himself surrounded by curious classmates, asking about everything from weather patterns to Earth foods. "Is it true humans drink water with bubbles in it?" a Nexari asked, its swarm forming a shape like a glass. "Carbonated drinks, yes," Jack explained. "Want to try some?" Even Alex seemed genuinely interested rather than mocking. "Earlier, during the storm, I sensed no fear from you," the telepath observed. "Yet our guides were concerned." "Respect isn't the same as fear," Jack explained. "We respect Earth's power, but we don't fear it constantly." As Jack looked around at his classmates, he realized something important was happening. They weren't seeing him as a weak human anymore. They were seeing him as someone adapted to a world they found challenging, even frightening. And tomorrow, they would experience the ocean. On the 4th day of their Earth visit, the class boarded a high-speed transport to the Pacific Ocean. Jack sat next to Lily, who could barely contain her excitement about seeing Earth's vast waters. "Is it really as big as they say?" she asked. "The data files claim your oceans cover more than 70% of the planet." "Even bigger when you're standing on the shore," Jack replied. "It stretches beyond what you can see." The transport moved quickly, and within 2 hours they arrived at a coastal research station. As the doors opened, the smell of salt air rushed in. Jack took a deep breath, enjoying the familiar scent. He watched Lily's face light up as her gill slits fluttered in response to the humid coastal air. "This feels, almost like home," she whispered. The class followed Susan White and Dr. Kim to a large viewing platform overlooking a wide beach. Below them, waves crashed against the shore in endless rhythm. The Pacific Ocean stretched to the horizon, blue and vast. "Earth's largest ocean," Dr. Kim explained. "The Pacific covers almost 1/3 of the planet's surface. It's deeper in some places than the tallest buildings on Centauri Prime." Jack watched his classmates' reactions. Most seemed stunned by the sheer size of the water body. The Nexari collective Zivt had spread out to take in the view, its individual insects forming a wide line along the railing. "So much water," Alex said, his telepathic abilities unconsciously projecting his awe to those nearby. "And it's all moving." "Tides," Jack explained. "The moon pulls the water, creating constant motion." Dr. Kim led them down to the beach. Most students moved cautiously, on the shifting sand. Jack removed his shoes, feeling the warm grains between his toes. Lily followed his example, signaling as the sand moved beneath her webbed feet. "Today you'll learn about Earth's marine ecosystems," Dr. Kim announced. "Those with appropriate physiology can enter the water with human guides. Others will use observation equipment and sample collection tools." Lily looked at Jack eagerly. "Can we go in? Please?" Jack nodded. "That's why we're here." They changed into appropriate swimwear in the research station. Jack wore simple swimming trunks, while Lily had a special suit designed to keep her gills moist even when out of water. When they returned to the beach, Jack noticed Draz watching them. "You're going into that?" the Cronin asked, pointing at the ocean where waves crashed against the shore. "Voluntarily." "It's fun," Jack said. "Humans swim for enjoyment all the time." Draz shook his rocky head. "My species would sink immediately." We cannot swim. Then it's good you're staying on shore, Jack replied with a smile. Jack and Lily followed, Dr. Kim and 2 other water-compatible students into the ocean. The cool water felt wonderful after days in Colorado's dry air. Lily dove beneath the surface, her body moving with natural grace that surpassed even the human swimmers. When she resurfaced, her face showed pure joy. It's wonderful. So much life, so much movement. They spent an hour exploring the shoreline area, observing fish, seaweed, and small creatures in tide pools. Jack showed Lily how to body surf on the smaller waves, riding them back to shore. From the beach, their classmates watched with a mixture of fascination and concern. After their swim, Jack and Lily rejoined the class for lunch at the research station. Draz approached their table, looking uncomfortable. Was it safe? He asked, gesturing toward the ocean. Mostly, Jack said honestly. The ocean can be dangerous if you don't respect it. Humans learn water safety along with walking. Your world requires so much learning just to survive, Draz observed. On my home moon, the biggest danger is falling off a ledge. Here everything seems ready to kill you. Storms, oceans, even the invisible bacteria Dr. Kim mentioned. Jack had never thought about it that way before. I guess Earth does keep us on our toes. After lunch, the class split into research teams again. Jack and Lily worked with Dr. Kim on their ocean project, collecting data and samples. Other teams studied coastal plants, weather patterns, and the effects of tides on the shoreline. As the afternoon progressed, dark clouds appeared on the horizon. Susan White checked her weather monitor and frowned. All students returned to the station, she called out. Ocean storm approaching. The class hurried back, some looking nervous after their experience with the mountain thunderstorm. From the safety of the research station's observation room, they watched as the weather changed. Dramatically, wind whipped the waves higher. Rain began to lash against the windows. In the distance, lightning flashed over the water. The power and wildness of Earth's weather was on full display. Is this normal too? Alex asked, standing beside Jack at the window. Pretty normal for this region, Jack confirmed. Coastal storms can be intense. And humans build homes here? Live here? The telepathic student seemed genuinely confused. All across Earth, Jack said. We adapt to whatever conditions each region presents. That evening, as they prepared to return to the mountain facility, Professor Klin gathered the class for a discussion. His skin had turned a thoughtful shade of blue-green. I'd like each of you to share something you've learned about Earth so far, the professor said. Something that surprised you. One by one, students spoke. Many mentioned the gravity, others the weather. Lily talked about the ocean's diversity. When it was Alex's turn, the telepath stood slowly. I learned that what seems normal to one species can be extraordinary to another, he said. Humans don't see Earth as dangerous or extreme. They see it as home. Draz spoke next. I learned that strength isn't always about physical power. Humans aren't the strongest species by Cronin standards, but they've adapted to conditions that would crush many of us. When it was Jack's turn, he thought carefully before speaking. I learned to see my home through new eyes. What I take for granted every day is actually pretty incredible. As they boarded the transport back to the mountains, Jack found himself sitting next to Draz and Alex. The former bullies now treated him with a respect that would have been unimaginable a week ago. Your gravity still hurts my joints, Draz admitted. But I'm beginning to understand why humans can endure so much. And why you excel in emergency scenarios at the academy, Alex added. When the oxygen recyclers failed last semester, you were the only one who didn't panic. Jack smiled. When you grow up on a world that tries to kill you regularly, you learn to stay calm in a crisis. On their final day on Earth, the class presented their research projects. Jack and Lily's ocean ecosystem study earned praise from Professor Klin and the Earth Guides. The other projects showed a new depth of understanding about Earth and its unique properties. After the presentations, Director Brown approached Jack. You've done well, Miller. Your classmates see Earth and humans differently now. I see them differently too, Jack admitted. I never realized how our different home environments shaped us all. That evening, the class gathered around a campfire outside the education center. The mountain air was cool and stars filled the clear night sky. Professor Klin had explained that campfires were a human tradition dating back thousands of years, as they roasted marshmallows, a concept that horrified and fascinated the alien students in equal measure. Jack looked around at his classmates. Draz sat nearby, carefully turning his stick over the flames. Alex was explaining something to a group of students. The Nexari collective Zivt had formed a rough human shape and was attempting to eat a marshmallow. "Tomorrow we return to the academy," Professor Klin said. "What will you take back with you from Earth?" "A new respect for humans," Draz said immediately, surprising everyone with his directness. "And maybe new friends." Jack smiled as he looked up at the stars. He would return to the academy different too, more confident, more proud of his heritage, and far less alone. Earth would always be his home, but now his classmates understood what that really meant.